Hi, it's Bill Coney for Straight Circle Martial Arts, and this is Ultimate Footwork in Fighting. How many of us have learned this? It's okay, it's alright, but ideally if you find you try and use it in a fight, it doesn't end well. People don't understand why people do things in martial arts, which is painful, and it's why people struggle with it. If you had a heavy weapon, it would be very important for you to get a stability, get down, get low, and be very stable with your footwork. Because if you're not, this heavy object is going to pull you around. The problem when we fight is we're not using this anymore. You know, when you go in, the problem with these feet is even though it gives you good stability, it's relatively slow. When you're fighting a guy who fights with his hands and this great footwork, these long steps are virtually useless. What you need to understand is it's almost better to do like a stumble step. What I mean by that is I hope all of you have done this. We walk and we've tripped over something. And then like you have that like run that everyone does and it looks really goofy and silly and no one knows why they do it. Why they do it is the body does it. It doesn't ask you. The body's trying to do it so it gets its feet back under its mass. When I move, the general rule is shoulders over hips, hips over heels, even though you're on the balls of your feet. So what I'm doing is as I move, I don't want to take long steps. Every time I take a long step, I get stuck. Everything I want to do should be short and quick and very nimble. What happens a lot of times when you take a long step, I see people have this trouble in class all the time, is they'll go to a step and I'll say, good, now kick back and come back that way. You know, just a nice simple kick step and back, and they can't do it. And they look at me and they go, why? You're too much weight on your foot. If I have all this weight on my foot, I don't have any ability to pump off this foot. When I hit, ideally, I want to be closer with my feet. When I'm closer with my feet, what happens is by picking this up and putting this, it puts the weight where I can push off that foot quickly. So when I hit, my feet are very quick and nimble. They're not just going to sit here and go like plod, plod, plod. The other thing people struggle with really badly is because they didn't play sports as a child, is they don't understand where the weight on their foot belongs. So most people, when they fight, when I watch when they come in, they fight flat-footed, like they're on their heels. And then what happens is when people pressure them, they get knocked back because they can't move because they're on their heels. Ideally, what you want to be is on the front half of your foot, like that. And how you do that is really simple. What you do, instead of staying perfectly over your heels like this, you have to take your mass and just bring it a touch forward, just a little bit, until you feel the weight roll onto the front half of your foot. And you want to keep them there. The problem people have is they do this coming forward, but they don't do it going backwards. So they'll come forward, and then as they go back, they'll heel and they'll plod like this because they don't sink their weight in such a way to where they can backstep quickly and stay on their feet. If you played basketball and you were defending a guy and he was trying to run by you and you went on your heels, he's going by you. You have to have these quick feet to stay down and move around like this, but we don't incorporate that in martial arts for some reason. Feet have to be on the front, you have to have your weight centered, and the steps have to be small. So, I'm going to do this with limited camera space, usually it would be bigger, but I'm just going to show you the principle. So if I hit like this, boom, it's a great power punch, don't get me wrong, but I'm stuck. And now I have to come back, and I have to reestablish. If I come through like this, and I'm quick on the feet, I can pop, I can come back in other directions, I can shift really fast because I'm light. Pop, coming around, I can pivot, I can turn, I can come back. You have to have this ability to move around all the time and quick. Every time you plan to go long, there's nowhere to go. Again, people, well, how do I get the power out of that? Because in most people, they want to lean, and they want to swing really hard to get that power. Well, let's just shorten it up. If you know how to throw your hip and your feet into it, if you know how to transfer mass, you don't need as big a swing. And if you don't need as big a swing, you can take shorter steps. One of my karate instructors, F from Reyes, when I first started sparring with him, the guy just destroyed me. And I'll never forget him saying this all the time. I'd come in punching, he'd go, feet are too big. And he'd be sitting there being very nimble and quick, light me up, coming in fast. There was nothing I could do with it. Because my feet were so large, and his were just quick. The last thing that people do with this that really which I find very difficult for them to work, is because they only take a couple steps. So in martial arts, a lot of times we're taught 1-2. Here comes the punch. I go 1-2. Right, here comes the other one. 1-2. That's great, but when you do 1-2 on the second step, you plant yourself into the earth. What happens is instead of taking 2 longer steps, I want 4 or 5 shorter steps. So let's say he pushes me. If I go like this and I go 1-2, I'm stuck. But if you watch the feet, quick. See that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That constant movement and getting those feet back underneath you are what allow you to continue to move. It's like I said earlier in the video, when you stagger and you take all those steps, the reason you're doing that is to get yourself back under your center. If he pushes and I make a 1-2 and I leave myself like this, I can't counter effectively. If he gives me a good this and I shuffle and I'm on the move, I can move really quick. So keep that in mind. You should learn how to do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all angles, sides, fronts, backs, and they should be quick little steps. These quick little steps will give you such an advantage in a fight. Because remember, fights are not like this. He punches, I go like this, and we go like this, and I go like this. No, if you watch real fights, people are flailing and pushing and throwing and grabbing. And if you don't have that ability to move, you're at a severe disadvantage. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, ask questions, add comments. Thank you guys for everything you do for this channel.